Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's tourism lesson. My name is Evans Mponyi. This lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. For any inquiries or any questions that you might have during the presentation and after, please contact us on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number I'm going to call out now, it's 079 578 2908. Grade 12 learners, in fact candidates, the year has come to an end. We are writing tourism tomorrow, and I just want to take you through revision towards acing the paper that we'll be writing tomorrow. We'll look into revising the topics that we have covered during the year, as well as the structure. The structure in the exam, it's entailed in your examination guideline that dates as far back as 2021. The examination guideline clearly elucidates the format of the grade 12 tourism question paper. The tourism question paper consists of a 1 3-hour paper of 200 marks. So there is only one paper that you are going to sit for. The duration of the paper is 3 hours, and the total mark is 200. The question paper is divided into 5 compulsory sections. 5 compulsory sections. This indicates that you have to answer all the questions. You don't have a choice but to go through each and every question that is asked in the question paper tomorrow or after. Grade 12 learners, as we reflect on the structure of the tourism question paper indicated in the examination guideline of 2021, here is the layout of the 5 sections that will be confronted with tomorrow. You have 5 sections as I've alluded to. You have section A, which is short questions. It's allocated 40 marks of the 200, and you have to spend at least 20 minutes on this section. Section A is short questions out of 40 marks, and you need to try and spend 20 minutes or less in answering the short questions in section A. The next section is B, and the topic covered, or the topics covered in section B, it's your map work, tour planning, as well as foreign exchange. And you have 50 marks at stake here. And to answer this question, you need to spend at least 50 minutes. Section C, you have tourism attractions, culture and heritage, as well as tourism marketing, and also it is also allocated 50 marks, and you need to spend 50 minutes. Number D, or section D, you have tourism sectors, as well as sustainable and responsible tourism, and these topics are allocated 30 marks, and you are required to spend at least 30 minutes. The last section is your section E, which comprises of domestic, regional, and international tourism, communication and customer care. These are the topics that are covered in section E. And the total mark for the section is 30 marks, and the time or the minutes allocated is 30 minutes, just half an hour. The grand total of the paper is 200, and the number of minutes allocated for this paper is 180 minutes, which is 3 hours. So you have all the division of the paper and the suggested time that you need to finish a section. These times are suggested to you, but it doesn't mean you should stick to the time allocation. When you manage to finish section B under 50 minutes, please move on to the next section. Don't wait to say I still have time and then I cannot move on to the next section. This is just a suggested time. It is a proposed time that you need to spend, and it serves as a guideline for you that as soon as you spend more than 20 minutes here, your possibilities are you may not finish your writing. It's one paper out of 200. It is a very long paper, so try to adapt yourself to the times allocated. But at the same time, it doesn't indicate that when you finish a section before the indicated or before the suggested time, you are not supposed to move forward to answer the other questions. So it is just a guide to say, as soon as you spend more than 50 minutes on section B, possibilities are that you may not finish answering all the questions. So this is just but a guideline. Please budget your time efficiently so that you manage to finish the paper on time. As we move forward, this is what you'll find in the second page of your question paper, the instruction and information. You are required to read the instructions carefully before answering the questions. It is important that you read through the instruction, which will categorically, which will clearly indicate to you to the do's and don'ts during writing. What you need to do. This gives you the rules that must be followed as you attempt answering the question. We'll look into rule by rule to emphasize the importance of these instructions. Most of you would go through to the questions directing and leaving some important information, some important instruction that is given on the second page of your question paper. It is highly important for you to familiarize yourself with the instructions of the paper. We'll further elaborate to how important as we look into them bullet by bullet. This question paper consists of 5 sections. We have mentioned that before. That is your section A, B, C, D, and E. I think we have looked into which topics are covered in each of the sections and as to how much time you need to spend per section. So that is the first information that you must know, that you have 5 sections. Answer all questions. I think we are repeating this to say it was said earlier on that all the 5 sections are compulsory. It is repeated on the instructions and information to say answer all the questions. As we look into bullet number 3, it says start each question on a new page. So you must to the instruction so that your work is clear to the people who will be processing your paper after you shall have written. So it is important to work to have your work clearly arranged as possible. Start each question on a new page so that you enable people who are going to work on your paper afterwards to have an easy way of dealing with the marking process, the control, and other processes that are involved in processing your marks during the marking. As we look into bullet number 4, in question 3.1, it says round off your answer to 2 decimal places. Can you see how important these instructions are? You may find that when you get to question 3.1, this instruction is not indicated in your question. It's not indicated in your question, but the fact that you have read this instruction prior, because you have read this instruction before you could answer the question paper, you would know that for every calculation that is involved in question 3.1, you need to round off your answer to 2 decimal places or 2 decimal. Bullet number 5 says show all calculations. So whenever you are given something to calculate, in our case, it happens with your time zones, it happens with your foreign exchange, it happens with your budget. So it says show all calculations. So you don't shoot straight into the answer, but you must indicate how you have arrived into your solution. So it says show all calculations. You are or you may use a non-programmable calculator. You can use a non-programmable calculator. That is another instruction. A simple calculator, all with all the 4 important signs, that is your plus, your minus, your multiplication, and your equals to. Those are the 4 important signs that you need to work out. You don't need a fancy calculator when you do calculations in tourism. A simple calculator, a 10 rand calculator that you buy from, you can purchase from pet stores, Pick n Pay, and stuff like that. So you don't need an expensive calculator. You don't need a programmable calculator that would assist you in getting calculations easier or saving information into that kind of calculator. So you don't need such kind of a calculator, just a simple calculator. Bullet number 8, it says use the mark allocation of each question as a guide to the length of your answer. Grade 12 learners, when you are given a question, please refer to the mark allocation as well. They may say give advantages of hosting a world event in your country, and they allocate it 6 marks. You cannot just give 1 advantage. You cannot just give 2 advantage, but 3 or more will earn you maximum marks. So the length of your answering should be dependent on the mark allocated on your question paper. Please, for every question, look at the question and check the mark allocation. Under normal circumstances, a fact in tourism is allocated 2 marks, except in section A, where each answer is allocated a mark. The next one says, write neatly and legibly. So you make sure that your writing is clear and legible. Anyone is able to read what you have written, to make sense of what you have written. And the last bullet says, the table below is a guide to help you allocate your time according to each section. I think we have looked into the table prior. We have indicated your section A, that is 40 marks. You have to spend 40 marks on it. Section B, 50 marks. You have to spend 50 minutes. Section C, 50 marks. You have to spend 50 minutes. Section D is 30 marks. You have to spend 30 minutes. Section E is 30 marks. You have to spend another 30 minutes. The structure that as entailed in the examination guideline of 2021 indicates that your section A will be composed of these types of questions. The first one, or the first question that you'll come across when you open your question paper, it's multiple choice questions. So it's a must that you'll get such kind of question in the question paper. The second one says, give the correct term from the box. So they will put terms inside or concept inside the box, and you'll have to link the correct one with the statement that would be given then. The third one, it says choose the correct word from the options given in brackets. So inside the brackets, there will be a statement, and in between or at the end of the statement, there will be brackets, concept given in bracket, 2 of them, and then you'll have to select the correct one. As we move on, the next set of questions is the matching items, where you are normally going to get column A and column B. In column A, it can be explanation of terms, and in column B, you may find those concepts, or vice versa. Also, you can get pictures given in attached to column A, and you need to name what the picture represents. So expect the column A and column B question. And the last one is either one or based on one of the following. It's a map work. It's also either graphs, or you can come across mind maps. You can come across pictures. You can come across tourism logo. You can be contracted with questions that need your interpretation of cartoons and the word clouds. So the last category is either of the question sets that are indicated here, depending on what the examiner has opted to use. That is your section A, and these are the kind of questions that you should expect. Let's look at these types of questions that we have alluded to by way of looking at some of the examples from the past question papers. As you can see, your multiple choice in your question paper, you will find that it is your question 1, and your multiple choice is question 1.1, and where you'll get the statement which gives you how you should go about. It says various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A to D next to the question number. That is 1.1.1 up to 1.1.20. in the answer book. So for you to answer question 1, you are going to write 1.1 and say 1.1.1, 1.1.2 up to 1.1.20. And then next to these numbers, you are going to choose the correct letter of alphabet that represents the correct answer. Let's look at the example given. 1.1.1, as you can see from the question paper, it says a plan used to make a journey logical and time saving. So in your answer book, you are going to write 1.1.1, and if the correct answer is number C, the route plan, you will write your answer as number C. That's how you should answer this. And when you move on to 1.1.2, which is the next question, and you find the answer is number B, this is how you should answer. Do not write these answers in full. So the instruction says you choose between A to D. So do not write the answers that are provided here in full, but write the letter that represents this answer. Right, that is how you answer question 1.1 from your question paper, which is your multiple choice question. 1.2. Your 1.2 says, give one reason for the decline in inbound arrival to South Africa by choosing from the list below. Write only the reason next to the question numbers. So your question numbers is 1.2.1 up to 1.2.5. in the answer book. That is what you are going to write. So for question 1.2, you are going to write 1.2.1 up to 1.2.5. So you are going to write this, and it says give one reason for the decline in inbound arrival to South Africa by choosing from the list below. So 1.2.1, it says a serious shortage of water resulting in water restriction in certain major tourism cities in South Africa. And if you feel the answer for number 1 is severe drought, you will write it here as severe droughts. And you do the same with the rest of the question. You don't need to rewrite the statement, but you need to choose the correct concept that represents or that best explains the statement that is given. Grade 12 learners, as we move on, here is another example. You have 1.1.19. So the 1.1 point something indicates to you that we are on question 1.1 and it's all multiple choice, as you can see here. And as you can see here also, you have 1.1.20, and here is how you would answer this question. 1.1.19 says a step in analyzing customer satisfaction. You have your 4 options that in your A, B, C, and D. Ignoring a customer complaint. Number B, complimenting a customer. Number C, rewarding a staff member. And number D, identifying common complaints from customers. Those are your 4 options, and the correct option that best fits the statement is option number D. As you can see here, the numbering is 1.1.19 and the correct option is number D. So you write only the letter of alphabet as per instruction. 1.1.20, the code below refers to the importance of feedback to improve. We all need people who will give us feedback. That is how we improve. That is what the statement says. Number A, an excellent working condition. Number B, successful, sustainable practices. Number C, customer satisfaction. Number D, successful marketing initiative. And the correct answer that best suits the statement is customer satisfaction. And this is the mark allocation, that you have 20 questions and each question is worth 1 mark, and the total for 1.1 for question 1.1, which is multiple choice, is always 20 in your tourism question paper. Here are some further examples to explore. 1.1.19 again from a different question paper. It says the image below is associated with customer, and then you have to complete the statement. So number A, experiences. Number B, needs. Number C, preferences, and number D, profile. So if you feel that the correct answer is number A, then you write in your answer book 1.1.19 and you write the appropriate letter of alphabet. So if you pick A, for instance, then you write 1.1.19A. So as you can see here, I've already given you the answer for 1.1.19, which is number A. Number 1.1.20, the reason why tourists use the card below when traveling internationally. So this one is the prepaid currency card or the cash coupon. Number A says, the card is preloaded using the exchange rate of the day it was purchased on and cannot fluctuate. Number B, the card is accepted by street vendors because they prefer cash transactions. Number C, the tourist has the tourist has to wait 6 weeks for the currency on their card to be replaced when stolen. Number D, the card can be loaded with one currency and will not work in one country only. So the correct option is number A. So you'll have to write A for option 1.1.20, and as I've alluded to, is 20 question because we have on question number 1.1.20. So it's 20 marks, 20 questions, multiplied by 1 mark for each of the questions that you shall have answered, and the total is 20 marks. Grade 12 learners, I want to reflect a bit on these multiple choice questions. I want to give you some tips that you must consider when answering this multiple choice question. Most of you would take a wild guess, and this leads you into trouble. Please use the following suggestions. Grade 12 learners, you need to eliminate the obvious wrong answers. So the first method, when you approach multiple choice question, apply the method of elimination. Elimination as the first method. It means you do away with all answers that do not fit. You do away with all the distractors that you find in this question. So you are given 4 options, and you know for a fact that number C is totally out. Please remove it completely or scratch it out and remain with 3 options. And as you read further, you find that the other one also is a misfit. Please cancel it, and you are left with 2 possible ones. And with the 2, if you analyze them well, you'll arrive at the correct answer. That is the process of elimination. Right. Another process closely related to this is the process of omission. With omission, you omit all the wrong answers, the obvious wrong answers. It is more or less the same as the elimination, because you are going to disregard the obvious wrong answers in the alternatives given, and read the ones that are closest to the correct answer and take a decision from there. Those are some of the tips that you should apply tomorrow when you sit for this tourism paper. Still on section A, 1.3, that is the next question. It says, choose the correct weights or weights from those given in brackets. Write only the weights next to the question number 1.3.1 to 1.3.5. So the numbering that is followed by the question paper should be duplicated in your answer sheet. So please follow the numbering that is presented on the question paper, so that you don't confuse the person who will be processing your script after writing. So I just wanted to emphasize the aspect of numbering. So 1.3.1, Robben Island is classified as a natural/cultural World Heritage Site. That is the question for us to tell whether is it classified as a natural or a cultural World Heritage Site. Then you will have to choose the correct answer between the two. 1.3.2, an increase in volume incentives refers to higher visitor number to South Africa. Right. Here it says you have to write 1.3.1 up to 1.3.5. 1.3.5 in your question paper, and if your 1.3.1 is cultural, then you'll have to write cultural, and if it's natural, the correct answer you'll write natural. And then an increase in volume incentive refers to the higher visitor number of South Africa, and if you think 1.3.2 the correct answer is volume, then you write only the concept volume next to the question number. This is the approach that we must use. 1.4, choose the term from column B that matches the description in column A. Write only the letter A to F next to the question number 1.4.1 to 1.4.5 in your answer book. So you are not going to write this concept in full, and in this case, they say write 1.4.1 up to 1.4.5 in your answer book, and it says one way in which destination can attract environmentally conscious tourists. Number A, it's responsible tourism guidelines. Number B, corporate social investment. So in this case, you'll write the correct answer, and if you feel that number A is the correct answer, you'd for 1.4.1 write A. You are not going to write the statement that is given in B, but the letter that represents the statement that is given in B. As we further move to explain section A, it says, read the scenario below and answer the question that follow. Mr. Kondo won 10 million in South African National Lottery. He has never traveled before, and his dream has always been to stop working and traveling around the world. He will plan his own trip. He therefore has to consider the following step of the travel planning process when compiling or putting together his itinerary. So the step of the travel planning process in no particular order. So they are given to you in no particular order. Mr. Kondo needs help with the correct order of the planning process for the world trip. Write 5 steps in correct logical order in the answer book. Example, step 6 here. Remember, you are writing 5 steps, so it means you'll start with step 1, step 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what you do, you need to rearrange which one for the other. So in that order, in the correct order, what he needs to do first, then you indicate or you arrange these processes that will help him plan his trip effectively. And the total for the section is 40 marks. I would encourage you to work very hard on this section A as you look into the mark allocation. It's one of the simplest questions, but I should not be misconstrued to be saying that section A is simple. So it is possible for you to come across a high order question in section A. Please take heed of that, and experience has taught me that learners who pass or who do well in tourism score more than 30 in this section. So get 30 and possibly get 40 out of 40 in this section. So 30 and above, fight for 30 and above in this section, and it will help you go ease through the other sections that are remaining. So if you score 40 out of 40, if you score more than 30, you are halfway the process of passing tourism. Remember, I wouldn't encourage you to work towards achieving a level 2 in tourism. That is not going to help you out in terms of admissions to tertiary institution in the country, because if you score level 6 and level 7, it boosts your AP scores. It boosts your points towards admission to tertiary institution. Imagine of a situation where they say the score is 25 to be admitted in a particular field of study. So if it's 25 and you already have a level 6 in tourism, it means the 6 subjects that are remaining, you need to get 19 points out of them. So please I encourage you to work hard, to pay particular attention as you answer the questions. So please plan properly and strive to achieve or to score a lot of marks in section A of your question paper. Section B is the second section of your question paper, and it entails map work and tour planning, and it also combines foreign exchange in it. So there are basically two questions that section B is consistent of. Question number 2, you will come across questions based on time zones, also questions based on travel documentation and health precautions. Grade 12 learners, this is what forms your question 2. The time zones, the travel documentations, that is your passports, your ID, and the health precautions. First, with time zones, grade 12, make it a point that you know how to calculate time between, how to calculate time between different cities, I mean to say. So another important aspect as you calculate as the time zones, know the time difference between the two cities. Also make it a point you know how to calculate the DST, know how to calculate the departure time, know how to calculate the arrival time, know how to calculate also the flying time with or without a stopover. This is what you should be confident about as you enter that exam room, that you know how to calculate or to determine the time difference between the two cities. You know how to calculate the DST, and insofar as the DST is concerned, I would advise you, grade 12 learners, to calculate the DST from the beginning of your answer. Remember, with DST, which stands for Daylight Saving Time, it means some of the countries during certain seasons of the year, or as per instruction of the question, they will ask you to, or they will tell you that such and such a country in this calculation is using DST, meaning that in that country 1 hour has been added to enjoy tourism and business activities there. So it automatically moves that country from the original GMT, from the original time zone to the next one. So if it applies DST, it moves a step forward, and say maybe in the place of London normally use DST during summer season, and it is located at 0 longitude. And as soon as during that time of the year it applies DST, it moves from 0 to +1. So please, before you could do any calculation, it is significant that you add the DST at the beginning of your equation, so that you may not be confused when you add it at the end of the question or of the calculation, not knowing whether you subtract or you add. But as soon as you move from one timeline to the next one, then you know that I have calculated the time, the DST already, and there's no need to add it at the end of the year. So there's no way you are going to get it incorrect if you move a time zone ahead. And I think we have done enough when we do the practical part of time zones during the year and what you have been going through as you practice. So this is the critical time for us to just give you the tips, and I'm sure you know how to calculate by now. The only thing is just those finer details that you need to improve on that usually make you get the calculation wrong. So my advice for you is to add DST at the beginning and make sure that you know the departure time, the arrival time, the flying time in your calculation. So as you do the last minute preparation, take previous question papers and attempt questions that have this package included in the question. Grade 12 learners with travel documents, travel documentations, who are looking at the documents that allows you to travel from your home country to a foreign country, and those travel documents include a passport, a visa, and an ID. So in such a question, please, when you fill the correct answer, it's a passport, you don't only write a passport, but include the word valid. People, when traveling from their domestic country to a foreign country, they need to have a valid passport, they need to have a valid visa, they need to have a valid visa ID. What do we mean by the concept valid? You may have a passport that all the pages are stamped, but it has not expired. That kind of a passport is not valid. It is not valid, it has not expired, but it may not allow you to travel because all the pages have been stamped. So you need to use a valid passport, you need to use a valid, you need to have a valid visa. So a valid visa, it's a visa that has not expired and categorically indicates the purpose of the visit, whether it's a visa that allows you to study in a foreign country, and that would be an educational visa, and there is a work visa that allows you to work in a foreign country. So all those different visas, you need to know them. But if a question asks you and you feel the correct answer, it's a passport, please write it as valid passport so that you may not lose mark on these questions. So every mark, every little mark, it's valuable for you. Make sure that you don't do these small little mistakes. The health precautions, you'll have to know certain diseases which require a vaccination, which vaccinations are compulsory, diseases where vaccinations are recommended, certain countries before you travel they will require a health certificate and where it is can be attained from. So those are some of the things that you should look into. Right, I think I've summed up your question 2 and your question 3. involves foreign exchange. And as we reflect back on the instructions, right on page 2 of your question paper, where it says information and instructions, they say during calculation for question 3.1, which is foreign exchange, you need to round off to 2 decimal places. Please don't forget to round off if you have more than 2 digits. 2 numbers. If you have more than 2 numbers after the comma, you need to round off to 2 decimal places. I'm going to give an example here. Say your final answer is 300 USD and then comma 456. Then you cannot present your answer, your final answer like this. Instead of if the third number is more than 5, then you move the one to add it to the last number. So 45 becomes 46 because the third letter is a 6, it's greater than 5, and it is closer to 10, then that gives you a 1, so you'll have 46 as the final answer. In an event where the last digit is less than 5, say maybe it's 4 or 5, then you deconsider this one and you remain with the answer as 4 5. So less than 5, then the 2 first numbers will remain, and above 5, the second number will be added by 1. Grade 12 learners, on foreign exchange, please do not confuse BRL as well as BSL, that is BSR, sorry. That is your BSR, that is your bank selling rate, and the BR. So these 2 acronyms, the bank buying rate and the bank selling rate, must not be confused, because if a calculation is given and you don't know whether to use the bank buying rate or the bank selling rate, please know which rate you must use. So in short, what I'm saying is that when you want to exchange your rand to foreign currency, the bank will use the bank selling rate. But when you sell foreign currency to the bank, when you return the foreign currency to the bank will use the BBR. Please make it a point that you apply the correct rate. Grade 12 learners, there are concepts that are associated with foreign exchange, concepts such as the rate of exchange, foreign exchange itself, that is your forex. So please make it a point that you know such concept. Know concepts such as a weak currency and a strong currency and their impact to tourism. So what happens if South Africa has a strong currency? What happens to the number of visitors coming into our country? Does it encourage more tourists to come into the country, or tourists will disregard South Africa and look for a cheaper destination? So those are the things that you need to keep yourself abreast with. That is your question 3, grade 12 learners. We are going to move forward with our presentation as we try and make the structure of the paper and what you are going to expect in tomorrow's question paper. Your next section is section C. It was indicated on the structure that your section E has 50 marks also, and you must spend 50 minutes. And it is made up of 3 questions. That is your question 4, your question 5, and your question 6. With your question 4 is the famous world icons, that is the 2025 prescribed icons and attractions. That is what question 4 will focus on. Question 5 will look into the World Heritage Sites, and question 6 will focus on marketing South Africa as a tourism destination. Now, let's reflect on question 4. The famous world icons, there are 14 prescribed icons for 2025 as listed on your screen. And the first one are the icons that are located in the country that is known as Israel. And you have the Dome of the Rock as well as the Wailing Wall. So these are 2 icons that you must know, and they are situated in Israel. They are found in Israel. The second one is situated in Greece, and it is known as the Parthenon. The next one is in India, and it is known as the Taj Mahal. And in Turkey, you'd find the Blue Mosque. In France, we have 2 prescribed for us, in the Eiffel Tower and the French Riviera. In Japan, you have Mount Fuji, and in Mexico, you have Chichen Itza, Yucatan. In Jordan, you have Petra. In Nepal, you have Mount Everest. In Saudi Arabia, you have the Mecca, and in Switzerland, you have the Swiss Alps, Jungfrau Alles. In Netherlands, you have the windmills. These are your 14 prescribed icons for 2025, and please refer to the examination instruction of 2021 to 2025, and it will help you identify the prescribed. Alternatively, you can refer to your work schedule or your ATP. It will clearly indicate which icons are prescribed for study in 2025. Now, what you need to know is their location on the map. So this map indicates different continents where these icons are located. So it is important for you to know the continent in which a specific icon is located. So you have those icons that are situated in North America, like the Chichen Itza, that is found in Mexico. Mexico is just below the USA. So this is your North America, this is your South America. So the Chichen Itza is situated in North America. That is the continent in which it is found, and the name of the country is Mexico. You have another one situated in Europe, and the name of the country is France. Actually, these 2 are located in France, and the name of continent is Europe. As you can see, it points out to Europe. Europe is just above our continent, which is Africa. So these 2 are found in France. That is the name of the country, and the name of the continent is it's France, located in Europe. So you also have the Swiss Alps, also situated in Europe, and the name of the country is Switzerland. You have the Parthenon, also in Europe, and the name of the country is Greece. And you have the windmills that are found in Netherlands, and Netherlands it's also found in Europe. So out of these 14 icons, we can clearly see that one, that is the French Riviera, the Eiffel Tower, the Swiss Alps, the number 3, the windmills, and also which one? The Parthenon that is found in Greece. They are situated in Europe, and the 6th ones, you have the Blue Mosque, which is situated in Turkey. So in Africa, not in Africa per se, but in Asia, you have this one, the Dome of the Rock, which is in Israel, the Wailing Wall, and also the Petra in Jordan, and the Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the Taj Mahal in India, as well as Mount Everest in Nepal, and Mount Fuji in Japan. So most of the icons are situated in Europe and Asia. So those are the 2 major continents that you must look into, and please make it a point that you know where the country in which the icon is situated. Grade 12 learners or candidates, matric candidates, the icon's full name, this is an aspect that you must know: the country, the city, the town, or the area that the icon is situated, and the location on the world map. So we've done the location on the world map. We must know the country, the city, the town, and to some extent you must know the continent where it is located. You must be able to name and correctly spell the icon. You need to know if it's man-made or natural. You need to also know the outstanding characteristics and the reason why it has become an icon, how it looks, brief description, as well as the picture, how it looks like, and the picture. So these are all the aspects that you should consider when you do icons. Here are examples in one of the question papers. Study the icons below, and here are the pictures representing the icons. And let us look at the question. It says identify icon A, B, C, D, E, and F. And as we go back, can you see A, B, C up to F? These are your icons, and the question refers you to that. Explain the difference between an icon and attraction. This is one information that you should know. Describe the unique features of each of the icon, that is B and D. Discuss in paragraph why icon E is considered the most visited in Europe. Your paragraph may include the following: 1 unique feature of the icon and 1 economic benefit. So you need to dig 2 facts, and the first one reflects 2 unique feature. Why 1 unique feature that is associated with the icon, and 1 economic benefit of the icon. Here are the names of the icons from A to F. And 4.1.2, the country is associated with the icon, symbolizes the country, receive millions of tourists. That answers 4.12. And the attraction, visited in the area, lesser known by the rest of the world, and attract fewer tourists. All these answers provide or account for question number 4. Question 5, it's your World Heritage Sites, and all these World Heritage Sites are located in South Africa that are prescribed for you. They are 12 in number. The first one is Simangaluso Wetland Park, followed by Robben Island, the Fossil Hominid Site of South Africa, the Maloti Drakensberg Park, Mapunguyo Cultural Landscape, and the Cape Floral Region Protected Areas. These some of your World Heritage sites that you are prescribed for you. You still on question 5, you have the Vredefort Dome, the Richtersveld Cultural and Botanical Landscape, and Komani Cultural Landscape. You have Barberton Makonja Mountains. The 11th one and the 12th one were declared in 2024 July, and the 11th one would be the emergence of modern human behavior, the place to sin occupation site, and the 12th one would be the human rights, liberation and reconciliation Nelson Mandela legacy sites. So these are your 12 icons that you should know getting into tomorrow's examination. Question 5, examples of questions. As you can see here, it portrays pictures of certain attractions, and all these attractions from your map, you will deduce that it is from the Northern Cape, that is the province which it's located. So it is one of the pointers that you should know, that you should allocate, or you should be able to know which province, or in which province is a particular heritage, World Heritage Site found. So both the 2, A and B, are located in the Northern Cape, as you can see from the map, and yours it's just to name them. I can predict the type of questions that would be asked. It said identify World Heritage A and B, and as you go back to the map, you can see that World Heritage Site number A is the Komani Cultural Landscape, and number B is the Richtersveld Botanical Gardens. So it says, explain one reason why it is important to protect the culture of San and Nama people. That is for you to revise. Explain one way in which the San people showcase their culture to visitors in the area. And 5.3, discuss one way in which the province benefits from the World Heritage Site. Identify in question 5.1. These are some of the typical questions that will come across in the examination, and these would make the answers to the question asked, as I've alluded to. A is Komani Cultural Landscape, and number B is Richtersveld Cultural and Botanical Landscape, and 5.2.1 answers the aspect of the culture of the San people. 5.2 as to the form of the practices that the San people or the San culture must be preserved, and the greater publicity of the province, so it makes it generates a lot of care income, financial benefits, decreases employment, and creates job and entrepreneurial opportunities. This answers your question 5. What you need to know as candidates, or what you need to prepare as you get into this question 5, you need to memorize the full name of the 12 World Heritage Sites. Actually, you need to know them by heart. Mark the ones you struggle to recall, and because these need more studying to prepare for examination. Know the province for each World Heritage Site, or where each World Heritage Site is located. Practice how to get to answer expected questions. These are just but the tips that you should bear in mind as you prepare yourself for the World Heritage Sites questions. grade 12 learners, rather candidates. As we move further, you have your section D, which refers to tourism sectors, sustainable and responsible tourism. That is your question 7 and question 8. The question 7 was not tested during the prelim examination. It's now in the final examination for the first time. Please make use of previous question papers, especially the national examination paper, not the prelim examination, because this one was not included in the prelim examination. So professional image in the tourism industry, the code of conduct, fair labor practices, as well as the conditions of employment. Please familiarize yourself with the topics that are indicated here. And for past papers, use the November and the June national senior certificate examination question papers. Sustainable and responsible tourism, fair trade tourism. This was assessed much in the prelim examination because the entire question 7 and 8 was based on sustainable and responsible tourism. Please make it a point that you familiarize yourself with what is covered in sustainable and responsible tourism. Please know the 3 pillars. The 3 pillars of sustainable tourism. Also make it a point that you know something about the corporate social investment, which is your CSI, and you need to know the free trade tourism, FFT, know what it stands for, and know how to define this concept. Sustainable and responsible tourism. Know concepts such as the 3 R's, which involve recycle or reduce, reuse, and recycle as concept. That is your 3 R's in reduce, reuse, and recycle. And this shape your sustainable and responsible tourism. The concept of CSI and the 3 pillars and how they interrelate. Grade 12 learners. The last section of your question paper is your section E, and it involves domestic, regional, and international tourism, communication, and customer care. So with question 9, you have topics that are covered as global events of international significance, and that is your World Cups, that is your Cricket World Cup, your Rugby World Cups, that is events such as the G20. Those are your global events of international significance. So you have political situation where some countries are fighting over one another, the unforeseen occurrences of international significance. Those are your flooding, those are your earthquake, those are unforeseen occurrences of international significance. It also covers your foreign market share, the portion that deals with specifically with figures, the arrival statistics, the graph, and so on. What share that South Africa has in the tourism market. And also it covers forms of payment when traveling abroad. That you can use cash, you can use credit card, you can use preloaded debit card, you can use a check or a bank draft, but which has been cancelled in South Africa. That information you should know. Those are some of the things that you should know with regard to forms of payment when traveling internationally. Also, coupled with what I've just alluded to, in the case of forms of payment when traveling, you should know also the advantages and disadvantages that they come with. The advantages and the disadvantages that of using one form of payment method as opposed to another. I'm going to use to make an example like with cash. In most informal businesses, that is the preferred method of payment. That is the advantage, and the disadvantage, once it is lost, it may not be recovered. So once it is lost, you may not get it again. Unlike a credit card, once it is lost, you can stop your card immediately and your funds will be saved. But with a cash, once it's lost, you will not recover it. Your question 10 is your method to obtain customer feedback and customer satisfaction. And as we reflect into question 9 and 10, with 30 marks of the 200 that is allocated to the question paper, these are the types of questions that you will come across. It says, choose the term for the form of payment from column B that matches the description in column A. Write only the letter A to F next to the question number in responding to this question. So as you can see, this the forms of payment was a question in section A. In section A, and it is your 1.4, column A and column B. So this indicates to us that your section A is constituted by questions from all the 9 topics that you have studied this year. Your section A is a combination of questions from the entire syllabus. So in your preparation for section A, you must read everything. So this is your question 9. This was deliberately put here as a form of revision to one type of question that is likely to be asked in question 9, and that is your forms of payment when traveling abroad. So as you can see, 1.4.1 reads, it happens electronically and works by sending international payment orders between various banks using codes until it reaches its destination. So they want to know the form of payment, and by looking here, the form of payment that is represented by number 1, it is done electronically. That would be your SWIFT transfer. That is for number 1.4.1, the correct answer would be your number E. 1.4.2, it is an electronic form of payment where money is transferred from one person's account to another, and that is represented by number A. The first one we said is number E. And 1.4.3 says tourists can use it to buy anything they have to pay back the full amount at the end of the month or over time. and the appropriate method here would refer to number F, which is your credit card, and the 1.4.4, it is a paper document used by individuals to make payments to third parties, sender, financial institution, receiver, or the money. And this would represent your cash, that is your number D. And number 1.4.5, tourists can use whenever it is accepted as the form of payment, provided there is money in the card, and that would be your preloaded foreign currency debit card. So here you'd have number D as cash and number C as the final answer. And it was asked in question 1, but normally it is placed in question 9. Your question 10, this is one example of your question 10. It says, read the customer's complaint on the Hello Peter website and answer the question that follow. The worst eating experience, that is from Hello Peter. We got seated in the formal restaurant at around 11 hours. We had to wait 15 minutes before someone attended to us. Only 3 other tables were occupied. Eventually, we placed our order. It was a very simple order, 2 pizzas and 2 cool drinks. The waiter was slow and mentioned he was still hungover from the night before. We received our food 40 minutes later. The drinks order was correct, but they messed up our pizzas order. We got 2 toasted cheese sandwiches. Eventually, we got the pizzas, but spent the rest of the time chasing away flies. Reply from the restaurant via email. So it says, email us your contact details urgently at the email provided so our operation team can investigate further. 10.1, it says, identify one complaint from the customer in the extract. So you know the complaint, they had to wait for too long, their order was confused. Also, what you can provide as an answer is that they received what we call the sandwiches instead of pizzas, that is the wrong order. And when they received their pizzas was in a bad state, they have to chase away flies. So it means it was not in a healthy condition. 10.2, it says, explain the advantage of using Hello Peter website for both the customer and the business. So you need to provide the advantages of using Hello Peter to monitor whether customers are satisfied or dissatisfied. And as we looked into 10.3, give your opinion on the response from the restaurant. So these ones need your personal stance as to how do you see the whole situation, and that gives you 2 marks. It means if you give one fact, because the length must be appropriate to the mark allocation. Here are your answers for question 10. 10.1, it says delay. These were the nature of the complaints. Waiters were slow and hungover. That is unprofessional. Bullet number 3, it says, bullet number 2, incorrect food order was served and eating under unhygienic condition. Those are the expected answers. You may not write as according to the indicated memo. And 10.2, it is a transparent online platform, that is your Hello Peter, where customers can complain about service delivery, and companies involved get opportunity to respond to the complaint. Or you can also say customers can use the Hello Peter website as a review tool, and business get the opportunity to manage the online presence. 10.3, the negative that is derived from the whole scenario is that no indication that the restaurant values the customer needs. The restaurant gives a very apathetic, indifferent response without apologizing. Grade 12 learners. That is the structure of your question paper that we'll be writing tomorrow. I just wanted to give you the idea and the tips that you need to follow in regard to tomorrow's paper. On that note, grade 12 learners, I wish you all the best of luck. All right. Yeah. Grade 12 learners, as of tomorrow, I think you would be ready to compete, to represent what we have been studying throughout the year in regards to the paper that we'll be writing tomorrow. Remember to go through the instructions. Remember to apply your mind when you answer question 1, and remember to look into detail of every aspect that you have studied this year. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.